I was reheating leftover soup on a plain Tuesday night, scrolling without thinking, when my phone buzzed with a new post. Ordinary noise, then a shock. My sister Mara, glowing like a magazine cover, had uploaded a carousel titled, "Another Perfect Christmas with My People." There was our mother Ruth framed by gold ribbon, our dad Charles carving ham, my brother Eli making faces at his twins, sparkling lights, matching pajamas, everyone together. Except me. I'm Lena. I'm 33. I live alone in a small apartment above a laundromat that hums at night like a tired beehive. I'm the steady one. I keep calendars, I remember dentist appointments, I manage vendor chaos for a logistics startup and make schedules behave. I used to organize every holiday. Menus, playlists, gift exchanges color-coded by budget. I was the glue, or I believed I was. Under Mara's photos, the caption said, "Family is everything." I stared at those words until my thumb trembled. Family is everything to them. So why did they forget me again? It hadn't started as cruelty, not at first. The first year I got a text on Thanksgiving afternoon, "We're running late, just do your own thing." I laughed it off. The second year I saw photos after the fact and told myself I must have missed a message. The third year Mom said, "We thought you were traveling for work," even though I'd told her twice I wasn't. By the fourth year, excuses came pre-packaged. "You're so busy." We kept it small. "You hate driving in the snow." They weren't lies that fit me, they were lies that protected them. The moment that burned into me came on a May Sunday. Not Mother's Day brunch, too obvious. It was Grandpa Leo's memorial barbecue in Mom's backyard. I called the week before. "I'll bring the photo albums," I said. A pause. "Oh, sweetheart, we decided to do something really small, just immediate family." "I'm immediate family." "You know what I mean," she chuckled lightly like I'd told a joke I didn't understand. I drove over anyway with 2 albums tied in twine. The gate was latched. The grill smoke curled above the fence. I could hear laughter. I knocked. Nobody opened. I left the albums on the step beside a wilting aloe pot and drove home breathing like I'd swallowed a stone. Later, Mara posted a boomerang of clinking glasses. He'd be proud. My name wasn't in the deck. After that, I stopped asking for times and addresses. I sent birthday texts and congratulations because I'm not made of ice, but I let silence answer silence. They didn't notice, or they noticed and liked it better that way. When I looked at Mara's Christmas post now, something didn't rage. It clarified, like a lens clicking into focus. I wasn't going to audition for a seat at my own table anymore. My soup went cold. I set the spoon down. My mind did math. Rent I'd paid on time for 11 years. The down payment I'd built quietly because no one ever invited me on expensive family vacations. The raise I'd earned last spring that nobody asked me about. I could do it. I could buy a place that would never lock me out. I opened my contacts and clicked on Theo Ruiz. We met in a night class about city planning 6 years ago. He became a realtor. He'd once said, "When you're ready, call me." I love finding quiet people, loud homes. I laughed then. I didn't laugh now. "Theo," I said when he picked up. "Lena alive and thriving." "Alive," I said. "Thriving is pending. I want to see houses, not someday, this week." He whistled. "I've been waiting for this call. What do you want?" "Light. A kitchen that doesn't sulk. A small yard. 2 bedrooms so I can have a door to close when guests stay. I don't want new construction that smells like plastic." "Budget," I told him. He didn't gulp. "You're serious," he said, pleased. "Very." "Give me 48 hours, he said. "I'll curate." I hung up and sat with the quiet. It didn't feel empty. It felt like space I could move in. That night, I opened an old note labeled holiday lists. It held shopping plans and a schedule for games I built to make the cousins laugh. I scrolled and scrolled. I found a line from 4 years ago. "Remember to bring Grandma's Nutcracker set? Mara loves the soldier with the broken hat." The ache wasn't sharp anymore. It was heavy and honest. I closed the note and opened a new one titled Home. Breadcrumbs started lining up in my head, each one a sign I had ignored. "The neighbor kid who asked, 'Why don't you have a Christmas tree?' I said. "Because I travel," when really I was avoiding the photo of a tree I never stood beside. The time Mom texted, "We're too tired for New Year's," and I saw Eli's fireworks in his story. The way Mara turned every group chat into 2 group chats, and somehow I always landed in the quiet one. Looking back, the pattern wasn't subtle. I was convenient when I carried casseroles and inconvenient when I wanted a chair. If anyone challenged it, I never heard. People rarely challenge comfort that benefits them. 2 days later, Theo sent a list with 3 links and a message. "I know you said no plastic. Hear me out on number 2. Great bones. Weird staging. House 1 was a narrow Victorian with stairs that groaned and a stove that flirted with carbon dating. I loved the front window and hated the closet space. House 3 sat on a street with cars stacked like Tetris pieces and a balcony that looked down into a mechanic's yard. Aw. House 2 surprised me. Small blue-gray square as a shoebox. A maple out front scribbled shade across the lawn. Inside light pooled on oak floors. The kitchen had a window above the sink that framed a neighbor's orange cat walking along a fence like a tiny circus act. The staging was odd giant fake lemons, a sign that said, "Bless this mess," even though nothing was messy. But the bones were right. 2 bedrooms upstairs, a half bath tucked beneath the stairs like a secret, a clawfoot tub someone had painted deep green, a tiny yard with a crooked brick path and a patch for herbs, not perfect. But something in me unclenched. Theo watched me stand in the kitchen, palms on the cool tile. "Say it," he teased. "I don't want to say it," I said. "Because you already know," he said. I exhaled, "I already know." While we waited on the porch for the lockbox to swallow the key, a memory knocked. My 26th birthday. I made cupcakes and brought them to Mom's. She texted, "We'll celebrate next week." Everyone slammed. Later that night, Mara posted a boho chic dinner party for a friend's pop-up. In the background, I could see our dining room hutch reflected in the window glass. Not a restaurant, not a pop-up. My mother's house. It was easier to pretend everything was a misunderstanding. Misunderstandings heal when people try. They hadn't tried. I had. "Offer?" Theo asked. "Yes," I said. We wrote it in his car on a laptop that smelled faintly of old coffee. While he typed, I flipped my phone face down, then face up again, a nervous habit. A message preview lit the screen. "Aunt Joe, sweetheart, your house hunt, I heard a rumor. Call me." Aunt Joe has always been the soft shoulder in a hard family. Validator. The one who squeezed my hand at Grandpa's memorial and whispered, "You deserved a seat." The rumor meant the news would travel fast. I didn't mind. I wanted a different story told about me now, one where I didn't wait at fences. That night, I lay awake and imagined the first morning in a home that answered back. Sun warming the floor, kettle shrieking politely, a table where people sat because I asked them, not because a title demanded it. I pictured a housewarming with my people. Friends from work who know my coffee order. My neighbor Mr. Patel, who waves every morning at 7:10 when he waters his hibiscus. Theo, of course, because he'd earned the first slice of pie. Cousins who had drifted away because invitations got filtered. Not everyone, just the ones who chose me. I didn't picture my parents. I didn't picture Mara or Eli. Not out of spite. Out of accuracy. The offer was accepted 2 days later. I stood on the tiny porch holding keys that clicked like punctuation on the end of a long sentence. I texted a photo to my best friend Kala, my anchor in every storm, who replied with 47 heart emojis and, "Tell me where to put the basil plant." I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell Mara. I didn't tell Eli. Silence had always been their tool. It could be mine too for a while. I walked through each room and spoke out loud so the walls would learn my voice. "This is the room where nobody gets left out." The words sounded strange and necessary. On the last pass, I stopped by the front window and watched a child ride a scooter past hair streaming carefree. That ache again, gentler now. I had been the child who straightened napkins and dimmed myself, hoping love was earned by being useful. I was done with that bargain. I set my phone on the counter. I opened a new calendar and titled the first event Housewarming. No confetti emoji, just a date. 2 weeks out. I would fill the rooms with people who asked me questions and waited for answers. I would light the candles. I would put name cards out if I felt like it, not because anyone needed them. I would not start with a speech. I would start with a door that opened. And because I'm me, I made a list: cups, ice, extra hand towels, a playlist that didn't apologize for being happy. At the bottom, I wrote one more thing in small letters: boundaries. Underlined twice. I didn't know then that the invitation list would become a confession. I didn't know the knock that followed would shake the picture frames. But I could feel a turn in the air, a before and an after. I made the list at my kitchen counter with a dull pencil and a bright mood. Names first, reasons second, boundaries last. Kala, obviously. She's my anchor. Theo, because he found the house and answers texts at 2 a.m. with breathe. Mr. Patel from next door. He waters his hibiscus at 7:10 and tells gentle jokes. 3 teammates from work who know my coffee order, and my tells in Uno. Aunt Joe, the validator in our family circus. 2 cousins who always hug first and ask questions after. The book club people who actually finish the books. My neighbor's teen Rowan who offered to DJ for payment and brownies. Yes. I hovered over 4 names: Mom Ruth, Dad Charles, Mara Eli. My hand wrote the letters and then struck them out. Not this time. The text I sent was simple. Housewarming. Saturday 2 weeks from now. 4 to 8. Drop in, drop out. No gifts. Come hungry. At the bottom I added, please don't forward. Not a secret. A boundary. Kala replied first. I'm bringing folding chairs and lemon bars. Try and stop me. Theo replied next. I'll man the grill. And hide the fake lemons from staging. He sends a photo of the giant prop fruit we joked about. I laugh out loud. The sound feels new in this kitchen. Aunt Jo called instead of texting. I'm honored you asked me, she said, voice soft like she was walking on a new floor. I'm glad you're coming, I said. Your mother called me this morning, she added, not soft now. She asked if I knew what time the little party starts. I said it wasn't mine to share. My chest tightened. What did she say? She sighed and said, Imagine how it looks to people if we aren't there. Aunt Jo paused. Not how it feels to Lena. How it looks. You hear the difference. I hear it, I said, validator doing her job. We hung up. I mixed brownie batter for Rowan anyway. Action is easier than bracing. Breadcrumbs kept appearing. Cousin Danny DM'd Mara posted a story something like, Some people love attention. I almost commented and then didn't. I'll be at your party. With a salad and my loud laugh. I clicked over to Mara's account. Her story was gone. Of course, but Danny's message lived. Revealer unintentionally brave. The week slid forward. I bought string lights, compostable plates, a secondhand cooler big enough to hide an apology. I scrubbed the clawfoot tub that still felt like a rich person's joke. I stood in the yard and tried to decide if the brick path was charming or crooked. Both, probably, like me. On Wednesday, Eli texted, Not a hi, not a congrats. Just heard you're doing something Saturday. Mom says we should be invited. She doesn't deserve stress. Manipulator by proxy. I stared at the words. I typed, deleted, typed again. I chose clean and firm. I'm keeping it small. Please don't come. 3 dots danced, then nothing. Silence, the family's favorite instrument. Friday night, Calla came over with chairs, lemon bars, and a label maker. You are not allowed to alphabetize the spice rack tonight, she said, already alphabetizing. We laughed in the kind of way that unknots a week. I'm nervous, I admitted. You should be. You're changing a rule they never said out loud. She fixed a label that read, Boundaries on the cooler. Visual aid. Saturday came bright. The maple drew scribbles on the lawn. I clipped a few basil leaves and pretended I knew what I was doing. Rowan arrived early with a small speaker and a giant grin. I made a playlist called Nobody Gets Left Out, they said. I swallowed a little storm and hugged them. People came. Coats piled. Laughter found corners. Theo mastered the grill like it owed him money. The book club argued politely about an ending that had been terrible. Mr. Patel told a story about his first apartment and a bathtub that lived in the kitchen. We howled. Aunt Jo arrived with 2 pies and a face that said she'd been rehearsing honesty. She hugged me, then held me away to look at my face like a true aunt. This suits you, she said, eyeing the space, and she meant more than the house. In the middle of refilling ice, Danny sidled up. She wore earrings shaped like commas. Your mom texted me this morning, she said low. She asked me to loop her in if I heard times. I said I wasn't a calendar. She replied with a screenshot of a new group chat, immediate family only, no drama. Danny rolled her eyes. She's recruiting. I muted it. I let that sink. They'd made an inner room and posted a guard. Again, it used to be called Core Fam. Before that, home base. It had always meant everyone but Lena, wrapped in careful words. Thank you, I said, for not forwarding. Danny shrugged and took a carrot stick. You're a grown woman with a deed. That's the only group chat that matters. The first person to ask where my parents were was my manager, Lauren, who has a gift for blunt kindness. Will your folks swing by? No, I said steady. I didn't invite them. Her eyebrows ticked up. Good for you, she said simply. Then she added, this hummus slaps, which might be the purest support I've ever received. Questions trickled. Is Mara coming? Is Eli bringing the kids each time I told the truth? I chose the list. They're not on it. Faces changed in small ways. Concern, surprise. Understanding that didn't always need words. A few people leaned closer, waiting to see if I'd offer more. I didn't. My house, my story, not a spectacle. Still, stories travel. During cake, Aunt Jo's phone buzzed. She glanced aside and turned it face down. I'll deal with them tomorrow, she muttered, then louder to the table. This cake is so moist I could cry. Everyone laughed, relief untangling a knot I hadn't named. Theo gave a toast that was 2 sentences long. To Lena, who waited long enough and then stopped. May this house never lock except when it should. Clinks. Cheers. I wanted to catch the moment in a jar. Outback, Rowan's playlist slid into a slower song. Mr. Patel danced with his wife in tiny circles. Calla squeezed my shoulder. Look, she whispered. I followed her eyes to the kitchen window. In the glass I saw us as we were crowded, imperfect, warm. I didn't see the empty spaces anymore. I saw music in a room that had never had it. The party stretched past 8. People stayed to help fold chairs and hunt for missing lids. At 9:30, the last guest left with pie wedges and promises. The house sighed. The string lights hummed. I sank onto the couch with a plate of lemon bar crumbs and the kind of tired that feels like earning. Then my phone lit up. A missed call from Mom. Then another from home. Then 3 from Eli. Then a text from Mara. Wow, bold move. Everyone is asking questions. Hope you're proud? Another from Mom. Aunt Joe says you refuse to include us. The word cruel comes to mind. But then, Dad, we need to talk about appearances. I stared until the screen dimmed. They weren't hurt that they weren't here. They were hurt that people noticed they weren't here. I put the phone face down. I washed 3 plates very slowly. I checked the front door, which was locked, and felt the lock as a right, not a sin. At 10:12, a new message arrived from an unknown number. This is Helen from church with your mother. She says you're going through a phase. Call her. I closed my eyes. Manipulation travels fastest through well-meaning messengers. I powered the phone off and went to bed. I slept with the window cracked to let in the maples whisper. The house held me like a firm hand on my back. Morning brought sunlight and certainty. I made coffee and opened the front door to find a small drawing left on the mat. 2 stick figures holding hands under a lopsided tree. For Lena's house written in kindergarten letters. Rowan's little brother, probably. Innocent. Uncomplicated. I taped it to the fridge like armor. While my mug was still warm, the doorbell rang. Once. Then again longer. Not a neighbor ring. Not a friend ring. A ring that said, "Open up, we're owed." Through the peephole, I saw 4 shapes. Ruth's careful hair. Charles's set jaw. Mara's sunglasses, even in morning light. Eli's arms crossed a storm building. I kept the chain on, just a choice, just a line. Lena opened, Mom said through the crack, perfume-controlled and floral. We won't make a scene. You already are, I said, and slid the chain free, but only opened the door as wide as my foot. Porch talk, not a visit. Mara huffed. Sunglasses at 9 in the morning. Seriously? Seriously, I said. They stood in a row like a photograph, Ruth with perfect hair, Charles with his Sunday tie on a Tuesday, Eli looking like a bouncer no one hired, Mara wrapped in a fence. Behind them, my maple flicked sun at their shoes. It felt like the tree chose me. Mom smiled the way people smile at bank tellers. We're concerned about impressions, she lowered her voice. Your house thing. People are talking. Your aunt called me. Your cousins are confused. They can be confused, I said. It's not fatal. We need you to fix it. Dad said first words like a gavel. Call the family. Say it was a misunderstanding. It wasn't. Mara leaned toward the opening, trying to look past me. Cute place, she said, like a verdict. Very you. How'd you pull it off? I kept my body in the doorway. Work, savings, a raise last spring. What company again? Eli asked, squinting like the sun was my fault. I let the question hang. What company do you think? They looked from one face to another, shuffling answers they didn't have. Mom's mouth made an O. Dad adjusted his watch. Mara examined her nails. Eli shrugged. That's the point, I said quietly. You don't know. You never asked. Mom's smile thinned. This tone is unnecessary. We're here to reconcile. No, I said. You're here because people noticed you weren't invited. Silence fell heavy real. For a second, Dad's face softened like the truth had weight he recognized. Then the old posture returned. We kept things simple these past years. Less volatility. I'm volatile. My laugh was small and sharp. I'm a walking spreadsheet. You make comments, Mom said carefully. At gatherings. You pick at things. You ask questions that derail the mood. You mean when I asked Eli if he was okay after you told his kids he'd work more if he loved them enough? Or when I asked you not to post Grandpa's eulogy with a hashtag? Mara crossed her arms. You made me cry in 2019. Over my engagement dinner. I asked if you were happy, I said. You said yes. I congratulated you. You asked twice, she snapped. It felt accusatory. There it was, the core. They didn't cut me out because I was cruel. They cut me out because I didn't clap on cue. Why didn't you invite me to Grandpa's memorial barbecue, I asked. The gate was latched. I could hear you all laughing. I left the photo albums on the step. Mom blinked. Once, twice. We were trying something small. I am small, I said. 1 chair. Eli shifted softer for a breath. The twins keep asking about you, he said. They miss Aunt Lena. I miss them, I said honestly. You can bring them by. On a day that isn't a performance. Mara scoffed. So now we have to audition. No, I said. You just have to come because you want to, not because the audience is watching. Mom reached for the door and I braced. Her fingers touched wood. I didn't move. Invite us in, she said. It's rude to keep family on a porch. It's rude to keep family off a calendar, I answered. We're even. Dad exhaled. This is getting us nowhere. He looked at me with the practiced patience of a man who thinks patience equals authority. Make a statement. I meant no harm. That will suffice. I won't lie to fix your reputation, I said. Mara slid her glasses up onto her hair. Her eyes were hard. You love drama. I gestured at the drawing on my fridge still visible from where I stood. Stick figures a lopsided tree. I love that, I said. Quiet. Honest. Mom's voice dropped. People think we're bad parents. I think you're people who made bad choices, I said. And I'm done paying the bill. She flinched just a flicker, then recovered. You always twist things. You've always been sensitive. There it is, I said. The family label. My voice didn't shake. Sensitive is what you call me when I notice things you don't want noticed. Eli tried again like a man caught between scripts. We didn't invite you because you make everything heavier. We needed light. I'm not a dimmer switch for your parties, I said. If you wanted light, you could have tried kindness. We stared at each other through the slot of the open door. Behind them, a delivery van rattled past and a dog yipped at a squirrel. Ordinary life moved. Our little stage stayed stuck. Mom broke first. If you won't fix this, we will. She straightened, battle ready. We're hosting Sunday dinner. You'll come. We'll take a photo. We'll send it to the family. No more confusion. No, I said. Her eyes flashed. Excuse me. No, I repeated. No dinners for optics. No photos as props. If you want to rebuild with me, it starts with an actual apology. Not for appearances. For choices. And then it continues with actions. You text me because you want to hear about my day. You ask what I do. You remember my birthday without a prompt. Basic things, then eventually, maybe we try a holiday. Maybe. Mara rolled her eyes so hard I thought she'd see her own brain. You think you're better than us because you bought a cute house? I think I'm responsible for what happens inside mine, I said. That's all. Dad's jaw worked. You'll regret this. I might, I said, but I regret waiting at fences more. Mom lowered her voice to the tone she used when I was 8 and spilled juice. Open the door, Lena. I stepped back half an inch, then forward again to reassert the line. No. She reached out palm flat and pressed. The door pushed against my shoulder. My body answered before my mouth did. I pushed back. Not hard. Enough. Ruth, Dad said, surprising me by using her name. He put a hand on her elbow. Not like this. For a heartbeat, I sought the part of him that recognized the cost of force. Then it was gone. Mom let the door ease. She smoothed her blouse. This isn't over. It is for today, I said, and eased the door toward the frame. Eli spoke into the narrowing gap. We'll send details about Sunday. Don't, I said. I closed the door. Not a slam. A click. The lock slid home with a sound that felt like a full sentence. I stood there, palm flat, heartbeat steady. It took a full minute for my knees to notice they were knees. Then I laughed, small shocked relieved. It wasn't joy exactly. It was air. My house felt like it had shifted to make space for my spine. The text started before I reached the sink. Mom, cruel, you have no idea what you've put us through. Dad, Sunday, 6 p.m. We'll keep it small. Mara, you've always wanted attention. Congrats. Eli, remember the kids? I put the phone face down and made tea I didn't want. Steam rose. I let it fog the window. My hands shook once, then stopped. Calla called, alive. Standing, I said. Good, she said. That's step 1. Step 2, write one sentence you can send to anyone who tries to triangulate. Copy-paste, done. Want help? Yes, I said. We workshopped. We landed here. I'm taking space from family events while we rebuild trust privately. Please don't relay messages. If someone wants to talk, they can reach me directly. Clean, boring, strong. I sent it to Danny when she asked for an update. I sent it to Aunt Jo when she texted. How did the porch summit go? Aunt Jo replied with a heart and 3 words, proud of you. An hour later, Danny sent a screenshot that turned my stomach and then flattened it into something like resolve. It was from a chat labeled, immediate only no drama. The message was from Mom. Ruth, Lena thrives on chaos. Keep her off group plans until she learns to behave. Today proves it. Below it, Mara had replied with a string of clapping emojis. Eli had typed, agree, protect the vibe. Dad had sent a thumbs up. Danny added, this is 3 months old. I read it twice. 3 months, not 6 years. New words for an old rule. My tea went cold. My mind didn't. I wrote one more sentence, not to them, to myself. Believe what they show you. When the doorbell rang again at dusk, I didn't move. I let it echo, then die. Whoever it was could leave a note, or not. At 9, an email arrived from Dad. Subject, Sunday dinner invitation. Formal, polite, hollow. I closed it. 10 minutes later, a text from Aunt Jo, heads up. Your mother is planning to make Sunday look like a reunion. She told Helen from church to bring her camera. There it was, the plan plain. I typed a reply to Aunt Jo, thanks, I won't be there. Good, she sent back. But if you change your mind, bring a mirror. A mirror so they can look at themselves, she wrote. Longer than a second. I smiled, then didn't. I could already feel the next tactic sweetness, then pressure, then a story told in rooms I didn't sit in. They would build a narrative brick by brick and try to wall me in. On Thursday morning, Mom texted coffee. We owe you an apology. 2 periods. Formal. Careful. I wrote back public place. Just you and Dad, noon tomorrow, bean porch on Alder. I added, if anyone else arrives, I leave. Boundaries in one message. Calla squeezed my arm when I told her. I'll sit 3 tables away, she said. Invisible security blanket. I didn't argue. I wore a plain blue shirt and shoes I could run in even though I wasn't going anywhere. They came 10 minutes late and 4 people wide. Ruth, Charles, Mara, Eli. My stomach didn't drop. It balanced. I stood, didn't smile. You broke the condition, I said. Mom touched my elbow like we were old friends. Sweetheart, they needed to be here. We're a unit. Then this isn't happening, I said, and sat back down without them. They followed anyway, crowding chairs. Other customers stared. The hum of the espresso machine covered our first quiet. Dad began, we're sorry, but if you felt left out. There it was, the hook. If. Mara added, we shouldn't have let misunderstandings snowball. Eli nodded like a metronome. We'll do better communicating. They all looked pleased with themselves. 1 apology, 4 angles, 0 ownership. I put my phone on the table. Screen up, calm voice, a real apology names the harm. Try again. Mom's smile thinned. We should have included you more. Be precise, I said. Eli blew out a breath. We didn't invite you to some holidays. Which ones, I asked. Pick one. Lena, Dad warned. That tone that means the meeting is over. I slid a printed screenshot from my tote. The group chat title glared in clean font, immediate, only no drama. Mom's message was highlighted. Keep her off plans until she learns to behave. Date stamped 3 months ago. Imp. Mara's eyes flicked to Eli. Eli went still. Dad watched the barista like he wished he were a different man in a different cafe. Mom's fingers twitched. Where did you get that? The internet, I said. Where everything goes to live. She tisked, out of context. It's the whole context, I said, and it's recent. Calla coughed 3 tables away. I didn't look, but I felt her there like a wall. Mom straightened, switched tactics. We'll host a dinner Sunday. Family only. We'll tell everyone we're starting fresh. We'll take a photo. You'll sit between me and Dad. No, I said. Think about your cousins, Mara said. People are asking questions. You're making this bigger than it needs to be. I'm making it accurate, I said. If you want repair, email me a real apology. Write what you did, not what I felt. Write what you'll do differently, not what I should do, to behave. Then show me for 3 months. Small things. Messages that don't have an audience. Dad's jaw set. You're creating conditions to punish us. I'm creating conditions to keep me safe, I said. Silence. Espresso hissed. Cups clinked. A boy in a red hoodie laughed at a meme. The world kept moving indifferent. Mom gathered her purse. We'll see you Sunday, she said like a judge announcing bail. You won't, I answered. I stood. Calla rose too, already at my shoulder. We left through the side door and walked the long way around the block. My hands shook halfway to the corner and then stopped. You did clean, Calla said. They can't twist clean. Sunday arrived humid and bright. I roasted chicken and cubed sweet potatoes like it was any other evening. At 5:58, Aunt Jo called from my parents' dining room. Voices buzzed behind her like hornets in a jar. They're doing it, she whispered. Your mother just announced this is our healing meal. Helen brought her big camera. I breathed once. Put me on speaker. Are you sure? Yes. Rustle. A thud. The room magnified in my ear. Chairs. A fork on ceramic. Aunt Jo's voice lifted. Okay, Lena's on speaker. I pictured the table runner down the middle, cranberry glass, Mom's good plates. I pictured Dad's place card at the head, handwritten in block letters because he likes things neat. I pictured Mara's sunglasses parked on her head like a crown. Eli bouncing a knee under the table. The twins somewhere off-screen, bored and beautiful. I kept my voice low. Hi. No one spoke. I'll be brief, I said. I didn't come tonight because this isn't repair, it's optics. For 6 years I was left off holiday plans and told it was a mistake, or I was busy, or the list was small. Last week you stood on my porch and asked me to fix how you look. 2 days later I saw a message from 3 months ago telling people to keep me off plans until I behaved. That is not an apology. That is a rule. A chair scraped. Someone whispered, "Oh, I'm not here to embarrass anyone," I continued. I'm here to be clear. I'll participate again when there's a specific apology and consistent change. That means messages to me because you want to know me, not because someone might ask why I'm not in a photo. Until then, please stop using my name to decorate your gatherings. I let the air hold. It did. Heavy. Honest. Somewhere a serving spoon clinked metal. A child coughed. Then Aunt Helen said, baffled and kind, "Did you really not invite her for 6 years?" Silence from my parents' end, the kind that tells the truth. Uncle Ray muttered, That's rough, like he'd stubbed his toe on a fact. Mom's voice came at last polished and brittle. We were protecting our peace. A different Aunt Soft voice, probably, Mina asked. From what? Mom didn't answer. Dad tried to close the gap. We're fixing it now, he said. We're here, aren't we? We're here without her, Aunt Jo said gently. That seems like the problem. I didn't gloat, I didn't add anything. I said my last line. If you have a question about me, ask me, not each other. I'm hanging up now. Please eat while it's warm. I tapped end, my thumb shook, then it didn't. The room around me was quiet. My house smelled like thyme and lemon. Outside, a bicycle buzzed past. The maple scribbled shadows across my table. The sky was still a sky, nothing dramatic, everything different. 10 minutes later, Aunt Jo texted, "People are leaving. Your mom is upset. Charles looks tired. Mara is angry at the air." Eli took the twins to the porch. Then another message, "I'm proud of your sentence. I'm proud of your word." I ate my chicken. No tears, no triumph, just a quiet click like a drawer sliding home. At 9, Eli texted, "The kids wanted to visit next Saturday. No photos, just us." My heart jumped, then steadied. Yes, 2 hours, noon. We'll bake cookies. His reply, "Thanks," read like a man stepping off a script. At 10, Dad emailed, "We regret miscommunications. We value you. Let's move forward." Fog for language. I closed it. Not cruel, not enough. I wrote the family list Aunt Jo set up. I'm reachable for direct conversations. I won't join triangulations. Danny sent a chef's kiss. Uncle Ray noted, Mina, a heart and a soup recipe. I slept with the window cracked. The house felt like it finally had a spine. Morning, Mr. Patel arrived with mangoes. We heard sounds, he said. We made lassi. Sweet goes with bitter. We drank on the porch while the street woke. By noon, Mom's rotation sugar pressure sugar. I ignored it, labeled bins, saved screenshots to a folder called Receipts Not for War, but for Dates. Kala came with bagels and a yellow pad, no surprise visits. No photos without consent, no messages using appearances, 1 month of no family events. Scaffolding for a life. Joe called after I hung up. Mom told people I was fragile and dramatic. Joe corrected her. Mom cried, then asked if I'd come to Easter. In August. I can stand, Joe said. It's your turn to walk. Saturday. Eli and the kids arrived. 2 hours, no photos. We measured flour. Joy made a small storm in the bowl. When June asked why I skipped Grandma's party, I said, sometimes grown-ups need space to practice being kind. Grown-up time out. Eli washed bowls he hadn't used and said simply, I'm sorry, I went along. That was cowardice. He warned me Mom planned a surprise drop-in with a camera. She'll find the same door, I said. Later, Mara texted an ultrasound and tried to book her baby shower at my house to fix the narrative. I congratulated her. Declined. She called me petty. I called it boundaries. Midnight, she pounded on my door after a fight. I kept the chain on, offered the porch called Joe stayed consistent. Compassion without collapse. The next day, I wrote middle-of-the-night rules porch, only help without entry call, someone's safe, document after sleep. I met Mara at 1 appointment, conditions only. We heard the heartbeat fierce and watery. She apologized, deleted the gossip chat, started choosing better. The public shower happened without me. I sent food, no hashtags. Dad came by with Grandma's chipped hat nutcracker and a real apology. Mom sent a precise card offering counseling. Both went in a new folder, repair. I hosted my own Thanksgiving. Quiet, honest hours. Winter, a small tree with 3 ornaments and no ache. January, Wren arrived. Spring, Captain Leaf leafed, and first Sundays became soup with clear rules. Eli started therapy. I met Mom on a sunny bench. We spoke like adults. No optics. That was the apology landing. We're not fixed, we're building. I oil the lock and keep the porch light honest. I used to be the glue, now I'm the architect. If your family kept you off the calendar, what's the first boring, strong boundary you'd write, and where would you post it so you can't ignore it when the knock comes at 1 a.m.?